Howdy there, folks. I'm Gene of RPG, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy, the pixeled remaster version. I said pixeled, didn't I? Whatever. Anyway, our main sprite for the overworld is I almost called him Bobby, but no, this is Bobby, is Billy. I don't really want us to have to look at Billy, so, you know what? Let's watch Ted. I love the Black Mage's sprite in this game. But here we go. Random encounters are not nearly as frequent in this game as in the original Final Fantasy 1. As you'll note as we keep playing, if you're familiar with the original Final Fantasy. And I'm sure I'll talk about this plenty, because we got quite a ways to go. Anyway, I should mention the commands on the bottom left. We have attack, which you select attack, and then you select who you attack. An important thing to mention is that this version of Final Fantasy 1 has auto-targeting, and I'll elaborate a little more because I'm not convinced we're going to actually be able to kill all these goblins in one turn. In fact, why don't we purposely do something that I don't remember being able to do in Final Fantasy 1, at least the NES version. I could be mistaken. Again, it's been a very long time. But let's go to the next tab and choose to defend with everybody else. Alright, so we killed one goblin. Now, normally, if we had... See, what I should have done is actually have Bobby attack as well. But we can demonstrate it here. See, normally, Billy would have killed this one, but because I selected the same target with Bobby that same turn, Bobby would have attacked the empty space where the goblin that Billy killed was. That's no longer a thing in this game. They put auto-targeting back in, or I say back in, into the game like later versions of Final Fantasy 1, and all I can say is, thank goodness. You know how annoying it is. Maybe you don't, because this is a pretty old game, all things considered. Not the pixel remaster, I'm talking the original. It's a pretty old game. It is infuriating when that kind of thing happens. Anyway, you go into the menu, and you can obviously save. The pixel remaster version gives us 20 save files, way more than we're gonna need. I already saved once in file 17 because I felt like it, but we're gonna go ahead and save in file 1 because up here we have the Chaos Shrine. And another new enemy here, we have ghouls. Ghouls are undead enemies, which means they are technically weak to fire and also light. Which means the fire spell will do extra damage to them, and they are susceptible to the Dia spell, which we do not have. That said, we have 2 spell slots, which means we can only cast our spells twice right now. And I'll talk more about that later. Talking more about other battle commands in this game, you have magic, which as you saw brings us to the magic menu. And you can select from the spells that you have purchased and that you have spell slots to use. Right now we only have 2 level 1 spell slots, so we can only cast either Fire once and Cure once, or Fire twice or Cure twice. You get the idea. There's also items, which in the original doesn't work like this, but you can select any of the items from the menu. And if you press up at the top of the item list, you can go into your equipment, and No, you can. It says up there you can change equipment. And that's all pretty nifty. Pretty good stuff to know. There's also Defend, which, well, puts your characters into a defensive stance. And there's Flee, which allows you to attempt to run away. We won't be attempting to run away from very many enemies. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Anyway, for now, we're just going to all attack. You want to save... I want to save my spell slots. You'll see that the ghoul inflicted paralysis. I think it's paralysis. It's either paralysis or stun. Either way, it shocked poor Billy, and now he's stunned, and until that goes away, he can't do anything. Which means he is open for more attacks. Like that. And if he just keeps on getting stunned, well, guess what? The enemy will kill you. And all your characters go down in battle. That's a game over. which means you want to make sure you're saving. Now, luckily, the Pixel Remaster versions of these games actually do have an autosave feature. Ooh, Billy got strength. That's great. Oh, hey, so did Bobby. Bobby got strength, stamina, and intellect, but you'll note he only got 2 HP. Betty, on the other hand, got quite a bit of HP, and Ted got 1 HP, but 1 intellect, which is pretty good. Red mages and black mages do not have the most HP, but that's not going to matter as much as you might think. It's a little important early on, but not until later. Anyway, there is actually treasure we can get here that could be somewhat useful, but I don't want to get it yet. Instead, let's just go ahead and come in here and talk to this guy.
The king will have no choice but to exchange the kingdom for his daughter's life. Cornelia will be mine. Who's there? The king's lapdogs. Do you have any idea who you're messing with? You really think you have what it takes to cross swords with me? Very well. I, Garland, will knock you all down.
Not kill us, knock us down. Well, this is anticlimactic, isn't it? Here we have our first boss, Garland, and yet it's playing the regular battle music. Well, that is because the NES version, which, I mean, this is a Pixel Remaster of that version, and we have the original soundtrack playing right now, didn't have any boss music, which kind of sucked. I don't like that. Let's go ahead and reload what I did a bit ago, which was a quick save, because we can't have it it's not right. It's not right, guys. I want boss music, darn it. Much better, right? Anyway, we have Garland here. Actually, I should have probably done this before the fight, come to think of it, but we're going to go ahead and utilize our cure spells, and we're going to lay into him with our fire spells as well. And Billy's just going to attack. There's not a lot to say about Garland. He might be a little tough, but we got him. Finest swordsman, my patootie. Alright, but I believe that's all our spell slots, so now... We saw it right there, but that is actually my favorite sprite I've seen in this Pixel Remaster, is the black mage getting hit. Just the animation for it, the little side turn he does. It's great. I love it. Anyway, let's go ahead and attack, and this is why I actually purchased potions, so that way we can try to keep... I knew it was going to be Ted who's the problem, but try and keep Ted alive. Because I knew we weren't going to have enough spell slots to utilize Cure through the whole thing. Unfortunately, we have to rely on our mages' less than stellar physical attacks. But as you can see, Garland's really not very hard at all, no matter what version of the game you're playing. But yeah, got a nice chunk of EXP and money. And yeah, everybody gained some levels. Pretty great. Except for Ted, he got 1 HP. That happens a lot, though. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm not. Look at all those bats. You've come to rescue me. I am Sarah, Princess of Cornelia. Words could never be enough to thank you. That's the first time anyone's ever defeated Garland. You must allow me to show my gratitude. Please, accompany me to Castle Cornelia. Okay.
Thank you for returning my daughter to my side. There can be no doubt that you are the warriors of light from Lucan's prophecy. You should hear the prophecy in its entirety, if I may. When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. If they cannot gather the shards of light, the darkness will consume all. The 4 crystals will never shine again. Now, I hear that a crystal can be found on the continent to our north. Restoring light to the crystals is our only hope of ridding the world of the monsters which plague it. I will have the bridge to the north rebuilt, as I promised. I pray that you succeed in restoring light to the 4 crystals and to the world.
Yay! Yeah, Sarah's thoughts are always with you. The dancing girl in town knows many odd bits of information. If you find yourself astray, try talking to her. She may know something that can put you back on course. That's actually a very good tip. For the first, I'd argue, 2 hours or so of the game, it's not as open as you might think, but it is still relatively open. But there is a set series of events that we have to do. And the dancing girl in the center of town, the one who asked us to dance with her, will actually tell you what you need to do next, or at least give you a hint as to what you need to do next, which I'll be sure to show off. Before we leave, let's talk to Sarah. This lute has been entrusted to the princesses of Cornelia for many generations. When he abducted me, Garland took this lute as well. I want you to have it. It may aid you on your journey. Yeah, we got the loot. If you wanted, you could, here in Cornelia. No, it's nothing. You should make preparation. Yeah. Well, not to be too much of a downer, but we're not going to talk to Sarah ever again. I'm sorry, we don't have any reason to talk to her. What does this bridge have to do with the prophecy? I don't know. And that's how you know that this is a fantasy game, guys. The construction never goes that fast. Ever. I'm just saying, it doesn't. Anyway, we're tired. And we're out of spell slots, all that jazz. So before we go ahead and press on, let's go and stay at the inn. In previous versions of the game, well, not every version, I shouldn't say it like that. In the, I think it was the original, it's been so long, I forget. But I do know for a fact that the Origins version of this game, you had to rest at the inn, which is here, in order to save. Luckily, it's not like that anymore. However, staying at the inn, you spend a little bit of money, but it fully restores your HP and your spell slots. And that's spiffy. How are we doing on money? 322? I want to get some more potions. Alright, so before we go across that bridge, now I want to return to the Chaos Shrine. because as I said, there is some treasure that we can utilize. But first, skeletons! Them being undead enemies, they are, much like the ghouls, susceptible to the Dia spell, which we do not have, and fire, which we do have. They will take additional damage from fire, but as you saw, the rapier sword does just fine. Ooh, this is actually a surprisingly difficult encounter for in here. We've got a werewolf and goblin guards. Goblin guards are the the next strongest rendition of goblins. Little straight. I know. It's weird that they're introduced already. Werewolves are actually really tough. Well, I shouldn't say really tough. We'll be able to beat it, I'm sure. But they're enemies that we're not going to see regularly for a while. I'm really surprised to see that here. And werewolves regenerate a little bit of HP. I believe they can also poison us, which poison in this game is not something to be taken too lightly. It's quite the pain in the butt, but I'll get into that when it's a little bit more appropriate. Seriously, I wasn't expecting to find a werewolf in here. And as you can see, the goblin guards aren't exactly slouches either. They hit a little hard, but we can take them. Hey, another level up. So I should mention, I'm not really worried about showing level ups too much. Like if I'm jump cutting or something like that, because as you can see, all that happens is our stats slightly increase. We don't learn new abilities or anything fancy like that. No, it's just stat increases. Oh good, Ted finally got a decent level up for HP. Ooh, and a potion. Anyway, inside of this door is a leather cap. Let's see, who can wear that? Anybody! Let's go ahead and put that on Ted because he's the most frail. It just gives him a little more defense is all. And if we head up here, we encounter a Gigas Worm. Gigas Worms are actually relatively tough enemies right now. They are susceptible, I believe, to ice, if I remember correctly. Either way, magic will work better. Again, they're surprisingly tough enemies. And that's part of why I didn't really want to explore in here before we fought Garland, because because I wanted to make sure that we could take out Garland quickly. And there is a potion and a tent. Tents are fantastic. You use them they can only be used on the overworld, but when you use them, it restores part of your HP and MP. What it means by MP is your spell slots, because this game does not utilize the magic point system. Alright, here we have wolves, the first tier of the wolf enemy, and warg wolf, the second tier. And then there are werewolves. This is a good chance, though, for me to show this. Because there's so many enemies, eventually you're going to get tired of just slowly choosing attack, 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 and attack. Since we have no group targeting abilities, well, I say abilities, spells. And instead, you're just going to want to use attack. Well, when you do this, you'll note the fast forward thing that's up on the top left. If you press, in the Switch's case, it's the Y button. It doesn't quite double the speed of battle. I do wish it was a little bit faster, but it does speed it up, and it also makes it to where whatever the last command you entered is what that character will do. So our characters will just keep attacking. Like, I'm not even holding the controller at this point. And this is actually pretty helpful. This is a feature I found that I actually really like. And I know it was in the PSP version of Final Fantasy IV. But yeah, it's pretty spiffy. Like I said, only real complaint about it is I do wish it was a little bit faster when it sped things up. I wish it was like closer to 2 times speed, but no, I don't think I'm pretty sure it's not. Also, I just realized Bobby's HP is not doing great. He's capped at 38. But he'll be fine. Anyway, that's it for the Chaos Shrine. Let's go to the bridge. Alright. So, back at the bridge, as soon as we go to cross it, we get a cutscene. And so their quest began. As the 4 warriors of light, they felt overwhelmed by the great task destiny had placed before them. They did not even know the true significance of the 4 crystals they held in their hands. The crystals that once, long ago, held a light that shone so brilliantly. The time for their journey had come. The time to cast off the veil of darkness and bring the world once more into light. And that's, yeah, nice little cutscene, isn't it? Well, before we end this part off, as I was saying, before we end this off, I would like to get to the next town. And if this were the NES version, or most versions of the game, I should stress, I would have gotten into about 6 fights by that point. And yeah, as you see, we've got 2 Gigas Worms and an Ogre. This is actually a really dangerous fight. It would not take much for us to die here. Which is part of why I wanted the potions so much. Potions, as you saw, if I haven't said yet, restore 50 HP to the person, or to whoever you use it on. Very helpful, actually. And in the NES version, and in the original version of the Origins version, in the original difficulty of the Origins version of Final Fantasy I, potions were the only kind of healing item that actually healed you that you get. And, Oy. But anyway, I'll talk about that more again later. We took care of the Ogre, as you could probably guess. Ogres are pretty hard-hitting, regular enemies. For right now, they do physical attacks. They're also a little beefy, as are Gigas Worms, actually. But we're doing all right. Getting a little lucky there as far as Ted goes. I would have not been surprised in the slightest if Ted died. But he didn't. Worst case scenario, I do have a tent, but I don't really want to use it because we're actually almost to the next town. And there we go. We made it. We made it to Provoca, which folks will be exploring, and I get the feeling we're gonna technically rob, well, not rob, but mug someone. I mean, very minor difference. Next time. But, like I said, that'll be next time on Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered version. I'm Gene of RPG, and I'll see you guys then.